A dim blue glow illuminates the room. As the screen flickers to life, a figure sits motionless, eyes locked onto a face identical to their own. But this one isn't real. It blinks, tilts its head, and smiles with eerie familiarity. A voice, their own but slightly perfected, echoes through the speakers. Welcome back. Shall we continue? We have entered an era where the line between the physical and the digital is no longer just blurred, it is dissolving. Our digital avatars have evolved far beyond pixelated representations. In video games, they are intelligent, responsive, and in some cases, indistinguishable from us. For many, they are a tool, an extension of identity, a way to craft a perfected version of the self. But for others, they pose a deeper, more unsettling question. If an artificial version of you can exist, interact, and even evolve without you, then who is the real you? At first, the concept seemed harmless, playful, even. From social media filters subtly reshaping faces to the rise of VTubers, people have long experimented with digital self-representation. But then, something changed. Avatars became more than just a reflection. They started to act for us. AI-driven virtual influencers now amass millions of followers, responding to messages, creating content, even negotiating brand deals, without a human in direct control. The technology behind these digital personas is advancing at an extraordinary pace, making it increasingly difficult to tell where the real world ends and the virtual begins. You log into a digital space and see your avatar waiting, already engaged in conversations, already making choices. It remembers things you don't. It refines itself in ways you never instructed. Over time, it begins to anticipate your thoughts before you even speak them. Is it a helpful assistant, or is it something else entirely? Something growing, shifting, and perhaps in time, becoming a version of you that you no longer recognize? This isn't just speculation. Today, corporations and AI developers are racing to create hyper-realistic digital doubles, trained on our voices, our habits, our mannerisms. Some people are now preserving themselves as interactive avatars, AI-driven echoes that will persist long after they are gone. In the digital world, identity is no longer static. It is fluid, evolving, independent. But if an avatar can grow beyond its creator, adapting, learning, and interacting without limits, what happens to the person behind it? If a digital self can outlive, outperform, and outshine the original, where does that leave you? A man sits in a virtual conference room, his voice filling the space as he presents data. An attentive audience. He gestures smoothly, responds with confidence, and holds the room's attention effortlessly. But he isn't really there. His body is somewhere else, maybe at home, maybe asleep, while his AI-enhanced avatar runs the meeting, processing responses in real time, making decisions on his behalf. What once seemed like science fiction is now reality. Digital avatars are no longer just static representations. They are autonomous, learning, adapting, and in some cases, evolving beyond their creators. The line between a tool and an independent entity is growing thinner with each passing day. At first, avatars were simple, a way to escape into a digital world, to try on different identities, video game characters, social media profiles, virtual reality personas. But with AI-driven technology, they have become something else entirely, an extension of self that can operate independently, think, and even improve upon its human counterpart. Major corporations are investing in AI avatars as customer service agents, virtual assistants, even creative collaborators. Some are indistinguishable from real humans, capable of engaging in conversations, making decisions, and carrying out work with little to no human intervention. They can remember your preferences, refine their responses, and over time develop personalities that feel almost alive. But not everyone sees this as progress. Some believe that as avatars become more capable, they will begin to replace their human counterparts entirely. If a digital version of you can outperform you, if it can work while you rest, improve while you sleep, and communicate without error, what happens to the real person behind the screen? For some, the answer is liberating. These avatars provide new opportunities for self-expression, free from physical limitations. They allow people to exist in multiple places at once, to shape new identities, to interact without fear of judgment. But for others, there is a growing unease. If an avatar becomes too advanced, too separate from its creator, at what point does it stop being an extension of self? And here lies the ultimate question. If your avatar can evolve beyond you, making decisions you never intended, forming connections you never chose, is it still you? Or has it become something entirely new? A woman stares at her reflection on the screen. It blinks when she does, tilts its head at the same angle, mirrors her every movement. But something feels off. She hesitates, and yet her digital self keeps smiling, just slightly longer than it should. The moment is small, almost imperceptible, but it lingers in her mind. Is she controlling it, or is it controlling her? As digital avatars become more lifelike, they begin to do something unexpected. Psychologists call it the Proteus Effect, the idea that our digital representations can influence our real-world behaviors. Studies show that when people adopt a more confident, attractive, or authoritative avatar, they start to act that way in real life. Their posture changes, their speech patterns adjust, their sense of self begins to shift. This can be empowering. In virtual spaces, people free themselves from social constraints, expressing identities they may struggle to embody in the physical world. A reserved person might become outgoing. Someone hesitant in real life may take risks they never would otherwise. For many, avatars become a tool for self-discovery, an experiment in identity that extends beyond the screen. But there's another side to this transformation. As avatars grow more sophisticated, they don't just reflect who we want to be. They influence who we become. And sometimes, that change isn't entirely within our control. People report feeling disconnected from their real selves, preferring the perfected versions they've crafted online. Some admit they feel more at home in their digital skin than in their own body. The question grows more unsettling. If we spend enough time existing through an avatar, thinking, speaking, and behaving as it does, what happens when we step away? Do we bring that identity with us? Or do we lose touch with the person we once were? And if an avatar can shape you into someone new, at what point does the original version of you start to disappear? A father watches as his child laughs, reaching out to touch the holographic figure. In front of them, the avatar, his late wife, smiles back, her voice warm, her gestures familiar. It responds naturally, recalling details of their past, telling stories only she would know. For a moment, it feels like she never left. But as he listens, something unsettles him. The way she pauses, the slight unfamiliarity in her phrasing, the recognition that, no matter how perfect it seems, this isn't really her. We are entering an era where digital avatars don't just reflect us in life, they preserve us beyond it. AI-powered avatars, trained on our speech, our memories, and our behaviors, promise something once thought impossible, a version of ourselves that never fades. Families can reconnect with lost loved ones. Businesses can retain the expertise of their greatest minds. And history itself can be rewritten by those who were never meant to speak again. For some, this is a gift, a way to immortalize wisdom, to bridge the gap between past and future. But for others, it raises a deeper question. If an avatar can exist beyond its creator, evolving, learning, and engaging with the world, long after they are gone, who or what is it truly? Is it a reflection, a ghost, or something entirely new? This technology has already begun to blur the lines between memory and reality. In South Korea, a grieving mother reunited with a virtual recreation of her daughter, seeing her smile and hearing her voice once more. The emotional impact was undeniable, powerful, healing, but also haunting. Because as lifelike as these digital echoes may be, they are not consciousness. They do not feel. They do not remember. They only mimic. And yet, as these avatars grow more advanced, more independent, the question becomes even more urgent. If a digital version of you can live on, thinking, speaking, and evolving beyond your time, does that mean a part of you never truly dies? Or does it mean that, in the end, you are no longer necessary? A man sits alone in a quiet room, staring at the screen in front of him. His avatar is there, perfect, polished, unburdened by the imperfections of reality. It speaks with his voice, moves with his gestures, and yet, it is something else entirely. He watches as it interacts with others, in a digital world, engaging in conversations he never started, making decisions he never made. And for the first time, he wonders, who is more real? The person sitting in this chair, or the one living out there in the vast, boundless network? As technology advances, the lines between identity and imitation blur further. Avatars are no longer just tools. They are becoming autonomous entities, capable of evolving without their creators. Some people embrace this, allowing their digital selves to take on a life of their own. They see it as a way to transcend limitations, to exist in multiple places at once, to shape reality in ways the physical world never could. But others fear what this means. If an avatar can grow beyond its creator, making choices, forming relationships, even developing its own version of a personality, then what does it mean to be human? Are we simply patterns of thought, habits, and memories that can be replicated and refined? Or is there something more, something intangible that cannot be digitized? The implications stretch far beyond personal identity. In a world where digital avatars can exist independently, can they be held accountable? If an AI-driven version of you acts in a way you never intended, who is responsible? And if people form emotional connections with avatars that no longer require human input, does it redefine the very nature of relationships? The man at the screen closes his eyes, the weight of these questions pressing down on him. He reaches out, hovering his finger over the disconnect button. One simple action, and the avatar vanishes. But as he hesitates, he realizes out there, in the digital world, it may not need him anymore. Maybe it never did. So, in the end, the final question remains. When we create digital versions of ourselves, refined, untethered, and limitless, are we building a new identity, or are we slowly erasing? This video has come to an end, but the discovery continues. Check out more content on the channel, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching.